We did not have the watch that you committed to, so therefore we had to go pay above what we would normally pay for a watch that we would never normally stock for these prices. Therefore, we got it on your behalf. So this is why we tell people, like, these deposits are not refundable whenever you back out of a watch that we bought on your behalf. Does that... Hey, it's Marco. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Everything's fine. I just want to discuss this matter with you and Vic and this yacht master. So basically, whenever you put a deposit on a watch that we own, that would entail a refundable deposit because we already own the watch. We did not have the watch that you committed to, so therefore we had to go pay above what we would normally pay for a watch that we would never normally stock for these prices. Therefore, we got it on your behalf. So this is why we tell people, like, these deposits are not refundable whenever you back out of a watch that we bought on your behalf. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. No one ever told me any of this. So I never had any context on any of this. So that's just that was the issue. I get it. I understand it's cost of doing business and it's fine, but like, no one told me what the rules were. No one even told me, like, you got to send a wire, and then I don't order you guys don't actually ask for the watch until you guys see a wire from me. Like, none of that got through to me. So
who did you primarily? Who primarily dealt with Vic?
Yeah, and he's great. I have great respect for him. Like, I think he thought I knew the process, but the last watch I bought from you guys, I just came in there and just
paid. You just bought it outright.
Yeah. So I didn't know the logistical process, and so I was waiting for the watch to come in, and then I was going to send the wire, and he just kept saying it's not in yet. It's not in yet. And then he calls me like a couple days later. He's like, "Oh, we need your wire first before we actually have them send the watch." And I was just like, "What?" And so like I waited a week to try to get the watch, and then I got like, after that I was just kind of like jaded, to be honest.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that's kind of how it all came down. I know that I'm fine giving you guys the $2,000. I've bought some watches from you. I've sold some watches to you guys. I just was curious, like, what the process was, because I don't think I had all the details, truthfully. That's it.
Okay, that's understandable. And definitely.
I mean, if you can flip the watch and make money on it without the $2,000, great. If not, you can keep the $2,000. But I want to be a repeat customer, and I want
absolutely.
This to go,
well,
I'm a guy
listen, I'll tell you.
Gonna buy like a lot more watches from you guys.
I'll tell you what, I'm pretty fair. Simply because this wasn't communicated to you. What I will do for you is I will sell the watch if it has to sell for a loss. All I ask is, maybe you just cover the loss with us. That's all. Because I mean, if we can break even, then don't even worry about it, dude. I'll just try to get us out of the watch. It's just the problem is like we paid pretty strong to stock it for you, and then I guess there was a lack of communication, which then I can understand. But yeah, so just moving forward, typically, anytime anybody, anywhere, I guess in this industry buys a watch on your behalf with a deposit, just understand moving forward that deposit would be non-refundable. Now, sometimes
if you want to keep the deposit until you sell the watch and then refund me the delta if there is a loss, that's fine. Or
like I said, if I break even on this, that's fine. Don't even worry about it. The only reason you'd lose a deposit is because if I had to sell this tomorrow, I'm gonna lose money no matter what. But if you're okay holding off until this watch sells, and I couldn't tell you exactly when it'll sell, but being that it's a Rolex, it will sell. We'll just try to break even.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you got it for 25. I couldn't find anything for 25, so hopefully you guys make some money on it. But
right.
You let me know, and in the interim, just keep the deposit, and we'll just chat whenever it sells.
So if there is any loss,
got the logistics.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that wasn't communicated to you. I'll definitely train everybody up on that so that moving forward, whenever these deals happen like this, they know the protocol.
No worries, man. I'm just used to buying them kind of in person, so I just didn't know how this worked. So thank you.
All good. All right, well, you got my number. If you need anything at all, just shoot me a text.
All right, Marco. Appreciate it, man.
All right, thank you. Okay, so Vic, run me through this deal with Chris, because it sounds like I just got off the phone with Chris, and what I'm understanding is you collected a deposit from him, right?
Right.
Okay, so it sounds like you collected a deposit from him, but maybe you didn't tell him the whole policy around non-refundable deposits when we're using these deposits to go allocate watches for them.
Correct. I mean, so pretty much he texted me. I think you actually gave me or him my point of contact. So
Right.
he sent me the watch he wants, put a call out, located that watch, and pretty much told them for me to get that watch sent to us, need a deposit.
Sure.
So no questions asked. He was okay with that. Did a $2,000 deposit. We didn't go into depth as far as if it's refundable or not refundable. So cool. I allocate the watch, get it sent. And it took a few days, you know, coming from who we sourced it from.
Right.
And within that time frame is when the wire was being processed. He was paying for the watch, but he hadn't done the wire yet. Told me, hey, changed my mind, got cold feet, but we already paid for that watch.
Now, okay, just so, because I'm trying to listen to both of you. So it sounds like he changed his mind because he got frustrated with the process. Because from what I understand, he bought the watch with a deposit. The watch did not come first. It sounded like he was told to send a wire first before the watch arrives to us.
So
that's kind of what he said. Does that make sense?
So I didn't realize he was local. So obviously if we're shipping out a watch, we got to have full funds in-house. So if somebody reaches out to me saying, hey, trying to buy a watch, I explain the process. Say, hey, if I get this watch, for me to get it, $2K deposit, we have to have wires in-house 24 hours before we can send it out.
Oh, okay. So you didn't.
That may be in confusion. You know,
all right. So here's what I want you to work on. Moving forward, whenever you just need to slow down just a little bit, make sure your processes are thorough for every step you're taking. So whenever you fact find and you find out what this customer needs are, that's where you need to slow down. Because I feel like if you're rushing these processes, what happens is a lot of things get skipped and there's a lot of confusion down the road. At the end, he's confused. And at the end, you're confused because you didn't realize, one, he was a local, and two, he didn't understand the whole concept behind why there would be a non-refundable deposit.
Right.
So I think moving forward, you just need to just take your time and just make sure everybody that's, you know, if somebody's going to buy a watch, we don't have it, we're allocating it, absolutely make sure they understand the you know, the terms and conditions of how the, you know, deposits work. That way there's no confusion as if he backs out, then he says, well, hey, I told you there was no, you know, refund on this deposit because we now own this watch. We paid for the watch. Exactly. I mean, people are pretty, you know, he understood the idea behind it. He just was never explained it to the beginning. So, and I understand his frustration because you got to understand they're not in the business we are. So it's our business to educate them on our process.
Absolutely.
So just, that's all I ask. Just slow down a little. Take your time with these guys. Definitely do more fact finding whenever you're engaging with a client. Make sure you let them know, you know, exactly what the steps are, and make sure they even repeat it back to you so they understand what the steps are.
I agree.
And then on top of that, do some fact finding onto where they are and so forth, because they might have an out-of-state number, but they might live here. So that way we can bring them into the store rather than keeping them in the dark. So I'd love to have, you know, him in the store with the deposit. That way it's like, okay, cool.
Right.
You can see everybody, you know. So that's all there is to it. I think otherwise everything is fine.
That'll work.
So basically what's going to happen now, and what I told them would happen is we'll try to sell the watch for break even. And if we break even, there's no sense to keep his deposit because I feel like it's on us that the, you know, terms and conditions were not properly disclosed. So we just want to be fair about it. I mean,
absolutely.
And in this situation, I don't feel like we were fair to our client. You know, not telling him, hey, this is a non-refundable deposit. Not to mention the process was dragged out because it sounds like, you know, our source maybe took their time in delivering the watch or whatever the reason was, and we didn't get it in time. Therefore, he got frustrated. Probably moved on to, you know, different ventures.
Yes, sir.
So, anyways, that's it.
All right.
Cool.
Cool.